Good evening, guys, and welcome back to the Suburban Proletarian. My name is Greg, and tonight I am making this video under a rather curious set of circumstances. I was expecting a package today, a package from China containing a watch, and when I got home from work, there were actually two packages waiting for me on the kitchen table. Now, this one is in fact from China. It has a China Post label on it, but it doesn't seem like it contains a watch. And as a matter of fact, the little declaration of contents on the mailing label say that it's a belt. Now, I sure as hell did not order a belt from China. But I do know that colloquially, in Asia, sometimes watch bands or straps are referred to as belts. And I have ordered watch straps from China, but unless I drunk ordered something, I don't think I had one on the way. So this is a mystery. Now this package, does appear to be a watch, and it does pretty much appear to be the watch that I was expecting to come from China. The box seems very similar. But the mailing label says that this package originated in Cranberry, New Jersey. Curiouser and curiouser. So it has become obvious that we're going to have to do an unboxing and open these two packages to find out exactly what's going on here. Now the watch which should be in this package is from a Chinese entity. I hesitate to call it a company. I don't really understand how these Chinese brand names work. But it's called, I think, Didun. I'm tired of trying to figure out how to pronounce these made-up Chinese names. It's spelled D-I-D-U-N. So for our purposes, we're just going to pronounce it phonetically and call it Didun Design. Now, unlike some of the other Chinese clone or homage manufacturers, which have expanded their catalogs to include copies of Rolex and Tudor and Omega and Blancpain and of course Panerai, and even some high horology brands like Patek Philippe and Alanga and Zuna. Didun has decided to focus exclusively on a very narrow, very specialized niche of the market, and they almost exclusively, or exclusively as far as I can tell, make copies of the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. And not just the original Genta designed Royal Oak, but more or less the full line of Royal Oak watches, including offshore models with rubber straps, chronographs, several different types of chronographs, moon phase, I don't remember. I looked through a catalog today and I think I counted 100 different variations of Didun versions of the Royal Oak. Now, I did purchase the very traditional, original style of watch that's as close to the original Genta designed Royal Oak as possible. I think most of the other manufacturers have avoided the Royal Oak. It's kind of a strange design for a bargain basement watch manufacturer to make, because part of the reason that the actual Royal Oak's price is so exorbitantly high is the very intricate machining that needs to be done to the bracelet, to the case, to the bezel, to create the little hexagonal holes for the bolts that hold the bezel on. It's just enormously time-consuming and subsequently enormously expensive. And I don't really know, I haven't actually looked at one of these Didun watches yet. But I hear that they're very good, amazingly good, actually. And because I don't have any real personal experience, I should probably stop talking now. And let's go over to the tabletop and take a look at this watch and find out what kind of a belt is in this box. All right, so here are our two packages. What I think is my Chinese watch, although it clearly says that it came from Cranberry, New Jersey. No, it's not a belt at all. It's the Terminator pig. It's the Terminator pig. Oh my gosh. This thing is amazing. Maybe I'll review this after I get a chance to check it out. I forgot all about the Terminator pig. You may have seen this thing on Facebook. Apparently you can throw it against a wall or onto the floor and it splats out into just a puddle of nothingness and then pops back into its rather pig-like form. I've heard these are rather delicate but really amazing. So, okay, well that solves that mystery. Let's move on to the watch. All right, so we got the end of the envelope ripped open here, and there is the box. Here's the watch, packaged in a little bit of bubble wrap. And let's see here. Wow. That is pretty nice looking. It's just on a soft little pillow here. Let's remove this plastic. At first glance, I am absolutely astounded at this thing. The machining is really, really nice. The polishing is really, really nice. I've seen photographs of earlier models of these Didun design versions of the Royal Oak, and the hexagonal holes that these bolts go into are much looser than you would see on an Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, but these are just fit as tight as possibly could be. Now you've probably noticed from the ticking I did, and also the fact that it says quartz on the dial, I did get the quartz version of this watch. It comes with either a very cheap but efficient Miyota quartz movement in it. The other version of this watch is said to have a Miyota automatic movement in it, but that turns out not to be true, or at least not according to the reviewers I've seen. It turns out that it's some sort of a seagull automatic movement. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but this watch is really all about design, style. It's all about the case. It's all about the bracelet. It's all about the dial, and not really about the movement. And the quartz just seemed to make a lot more sense to me. Plus, it was a bit cheaper. I think this quartz version cost me, I think, $55, including shipping from China. The automatic version is, I don't know, $15 or $20 more. It just didn't seem to make a lot of sense to me to have a Chinese automatic movement versus a Japanese quartz movement, which is probably going to be more reliable in the long run. Wow, the deployant clasp is really nice, fairly heavy, all stainless steel, snaps together very positively. You can see the Didun logo there, quite similar to the area where the AP logo would appear on the real watch. This is the really crazy thing, though, in the back. I don't know if I'll be able to open this up enough for you to see. But where the original Royal Oak has a very distinctive Royal Oak logo on the case back, this one has a similar looking one, but it says the Royal One. I mean, if that's not screaming copyright infringement, I don't know what does. And as a matter of fact, these watches are quite hard to find in comparison to your normal run of Parnas and Steel Bagel sport knockoffs. Audemars Piguet seems to have flexed some of their legal muscle And these have disappeared from AliExpress. They pop up, they pop down on some of the other Chinese retail sites. So you're going to have to keep your eye open if you want to get one of these. The machining is really quite good. I have already noted that the bolt holes are almost perfect. One thing I've noticed with some of the earlier versions of this is the transition from the case into the bracelet. There was a bit of a step here, which is absent in this version. Oh, the crown is signed. It's got a little bit of blue protective enamel on there. I'll get that off later, but the crown sign looks nice. It is apparently a screw down crown. Well, I'm going to have to look this watch over and maybe wear it for a few days and get a feeling for the accuracy. But my initial impression is really, really favorable. Yeah, it just looks really, really good. So give me a little while to mull this over. I'll probably post a follow-up review in the coming weeks. If anyone's interested, I have other projects I want to work on, but if you're particularly interested in this and would like to know my thoughts on it, I will make sure to put sort of a priority on this. Otherwise, it'll come around when it comes around. If anybody in particular wants to see this, please go ahead and comment down below. But my first impression is very favorable indeed. Ooh, now there's something I don't like. You got a little bit of scratching right there. That's a little ugly, but hey, 55 bucks, and it's going to get scratched up a lot worse than that over time. So there's one pin that's a little bit proud right here too. That's a little strange. I guess I don't really have much else to say. Let's head back over to the bookshelves and wrap this up. Okay guys, so the Didun Design Royal 1, not to be confused with the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, although of course it is a clone. And mystery solved. We had our Terminator pig here. My wife will enjoy this. Since I shut off the camera over there on the tabletop, and before I came back here, I took a closer look at the Royal 1, and it is pretty nice. And considering the massive amount of machining that would have to go into making something as intricate as that, it is pretty amazing. Those hexagonal cutouts for the bolts are perfectly fit. There are a fair number of sharp edges on that watch. It's going to need to be deburred a little bit. And again, you can forgive a lot because there's a lot of work that has to go into a watch like that, but there are some machining inconsistencies. I'll point all of that out when I do the actual review of the watch. If anyone's interested, well, I'll probably review it whether you're interested or not, but if you are interested, I'll kind of speed the process up. I can honestly say, however, as interesting a watch as that is, and as nicely finished as it is not nearly as nice as the Dibert Richard Lange scientific observation watch, or observatory chronometer, that I reviewed a couple of weeks ago from Dibert, also a Chinese clone. And it's not nearly as nice as this Parnis Flieger, which I am evaluating now and which I will be reviewing coming up soon. These watches, this watch and the Dibert that I already reviewed, are nearly flawless. I mean, they're mind-blowing. Now, they're not nearly as intricate as that watch is. There's not nearly as much machining that goes into at least the case of this watch as on the Didun Design, but definitely a step above. The price is also a step above too. I mean, you're talking about 50% more money for this, also 50% more money for the Dibert. So I guess we can forgive quite a bit at a significant savings. Anyway, the Didun is pretty cool. I think it's going to be a fun watch to wear. It's not a counterfeit, so I won't have to catch any flack from people, but I'll still be able to get a feel for a classic Gerald Genta design, even if it's not the real thing. And at the price of 55 bucks, I mean, how can you go wrong? It's got a decent Miyota movement in it, which should work fairly well. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please go ahead and click the like button down below. That's the little thumbs up. If you hated it, on the other hand, click the thumbs down. You're not going to hurt my feelings, but you will be giving me useful feedback. If you did enjoy this video and you'd like to see more like it, please consider subscribing to the channel. You can always unsubscribe if you decide you hate me in the future, but it goes a long way to help keep me here on the air. And if you're already a subscriber and you'd like to get notifications from YouTube when I post updates to the channel, go ahead and click the little bell icon down below. And when I do that, I hope to see each of you here at that time. Later, guys.